Welcome to another deep dive on G Fun Facts Online. Today, we are stripping away the noise of the modern world and descending into the humid, ancient silence of the Malaysian rainforest. We are going to talk about a robbery, but this isn't a crime of passion or violence. It is a heist so sophisticated, so chemically complex, and so evolutionarily ancient that it happens entirely without motion. It is taking place right now, beneath a canopy that has filtered sunlight for millions of years. The perpetrator is not a jaguar or a snake. It isn't even an insect. It is a plant. But it is a plant that challenges almost everything we were taught in biology class about what a plant is supposed to be. It has no green leaves to catch the sun. It has no towering stem to compete for light. Instead, it is a ghostly thumb-sized apparition that spends nearly its entire life buried underground, emerging only briefly to display a flower that looks less like a blossom and more like an alien artifact left by a miniature civilization. We are talking about Thismia selangorensis, also known as the Selangor Fairy Lantern. This is a botanical enigma that was discovered only in late 2023 and described to science in 2024. It has quickly become a celebrity among botanists and a symbol of the fragility of our planet's hidden biodiversity. This tiny organism is what scientists call a mycoheterotroph. That is a technical term we are going to unpack today, but essentially, it means this plant has abandoned the hard work of photosynthesis in favor of a life of piracy. It taps into the vast, invisible fungal networks that pulse beneath the forest floor, stealing the energy harvested by the towering trees nearby. It is a ghost in the machine of the rainforest. To understand this creature, we have to start with the detective story of its discovery, because the setting is not what you might expect. The story of Thismia selangorensis does not begin in a remote, inaccessible jungle, reachable only by helicopter or a week-long trek with machetes. It begins, ironically, at a picnic site, specifically the Taman Eko Rimba Sungai Chongkak, a popular recreational forest in the state of Selangor, Malaysia. This is a place where families go on weekends to escape the searing heat of Kuala Lumpur. It is a place for splashing in cool river waters and barbecuing chicken under the shade of dipterocarp trees. It is a landscape of laughter, water, and the smell of charcoal smoke. It is absolutely not the typical setting for the discovery of a species new to science. Yet biodiversity does not respect human boundaries or designated recreation zones. The rich, moist soil that lines the banks of the Chongkak River, shaded by the massive buttress roots of giant trees, provides a microhabitat of exceptional stability and humidity. It was here, in November 2023, that a naturalist named Tan Gim Siu was scanning the ground. Now, botany in the tropics is often a game of scale. While the trees soar to 40 or 50 meters above, the most exciting discoveries are often taking place at the millimeter level in the leaf litter. Tan Gim Siu was looking near a tree buttress, a dark, sheltered niche often favored by fungi and small saprophytes. Suddenly, a flash of color stood out against the decaying browns of the forest floor. It was a small, fleshy flower, no taller than a finger. It was colored a delicate, whitish peach. It looked nothing like the surrounding vegetation. It had no green leaves, no woody stem. To the untrained eye, it looked like a piece of coral or a strange mushroom that had lost its way. Realizing the potential significance of the find, photographs were taken and shared with experts. The images eventually reached Siti Munira Mat Yuno, a renowned botanist at the Forest Research Institute Malaysia, who has spearheaded the discovery of several Thismia species in recent years. To her expert eye, the plant was unmistakably a fairy lantern, known for their glass-like, intricate flowers. But it didn't match any known species. Subsequent expeditions were launched to the site to confirm the find. The researchers had to tread incredibly carefully. The plants were so small and so well camouflaged that a misplaced boot could literally wipe out a significant percentage of the known population. They found the plants growing in the moist leaf litter, often nestled in the caves formed by tree roots or in hollows near the riverbank. Under the microscope, the plant revealed its secrets. Its flower structure was unique. Unlike other Malaysian fairy lanterns, which might be orange or yellow with different ornamentation, this one had a specific mitriform or mitre-shaped cap, resembling the ceremonial headgear of a bishop. It had three peculiar, club-shaped appendages rising like antennas. The internal structure of the flower, the arrangement of its stamens, and the texture of its floral tube were distinct enough to confirm it as a new species. It was named Thismia selangorensis, honoring the state of Selangor. But this triumph came with a sobering realization. The entire known population of this species consisted of fewer than 20 individuals, all confined to a single patch of forest smaller than a university campus. So what makes this plant so special biologically? To understand that, we have to look at what it lacks. It lacks chlorophyll. That green pigment is the hallmark of the plant kingdom. For over 1 billion years, the evolutionary strategy of plants has been defined by photosynthesis. They use the energy of sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into sugars. This independence is what makes plants the producers of the food web. But photosynthesis is expensive. It requires building complex solar panels, which we call leaves. It requires maintaining rigid structures, like stems and trunks, to hold those panels up to the light. It requires managing water loss. At some point in evolutionary history, the ancestors of Thismia took a different path. They found a shortcut. Instead of making their own food, they began to steal it. Thismia selangorensis is a study in minimalism. Its leaves have been reduced to tiny, scale-like triangles along the stem. Since they don't need to catch light, they have atrophied into vestigial organs, pale and white. The stem is short, fleshy, and pinkish, needing only to be tall enough to lift the flower just above the rotting leaves so pollinators can find it. But the roots are the business end of the operation. They are coralliform, meaning they branch repeatedly like marine coral. This maximizes their surface area, not to absorb water from the soil, but to maximize contact with their fungal prey. And this brings us to the Heist. The lifestyle of Thismia selangorensis is scientifically termed mycoheterotrophy. Myco means fungus, hetero means another, and trophy means nutrition. Simply put, it eats fungi. To understand how this works, we have to visualize the wood wide web. The rainforest floor is underlain by a massive network of fungal threads called mycelium. These fungi are usually mycorrhizal, meaning they live in a symbiotic relationship with the trees. The fungi colonize the tree roots, extending far into the soil to gather phosphorus, nitrogen, and water, which they trade to the tree. In return, the giant trees, bathing in the sunlight 50 meters above, pump sugars down into the roots and feed the fungi. It is a fair trade, nutrients for sugar. Thismia enters this relationship as a hacker. It inserts its roots into the soil, seeking out the fungal threads. When the fungus encounters the Thismia roots, it penetrates the plant's cells, likely expecting to establish a standard symbiotic trade. The fungus grows coils of hyphae called pelotons inside the Thismia root cells. This is where the trap springs. In a normal plant, this interface would be a marketplace. In Thismia, it is a slaughterhouse. Once the fungus has grown inside, the plant activates a digestive mechanism. It releases enzymes that break down the fungal cell walls and digest the contents. The Thismia absorbs the carbon and nutrients that the fungus had gathered. The flow of energy is fascinating. It goes from the sun, to the tree, to the fungus, and finally, to the Thismia. Therefore, Thismia selangorensis is indirectly parasitic on the surrounding trees, using the fungus as a bridge. It is the ultimate freeloader, stealing solar energy from the canopy without ever seeing the sun. Most Thismia species are specialists, targeting specific arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi. This specificity is dangerous. If that one species of fungus dies out, or if the trees that support that fungus are cut down, the Thismia will starve. It binds the fate of the tiny fairy lantern to the health of the giant dipterocarp trees around it. Taxonomically, Thismia selangorensis belongs to the section Geometra. Its closest relatives include Thismia clavigera, found in Sarawak and Thailand, and the recently discovered Thismia malayana. There is also the famous Thismia neptunus, rediscovered in Borneo in 2017 after being lost for 151 years, which looks like a bizarre alien mouth facing the sky. Each of these species represents a slight variation on the same theme: how to build a flower that attracts pollinators in the dark, damp understory without spending too much energy. The evolution of Thismia is a story of reduction. Over millions of years, they lost the genes for photosynthesis, they lost their air pores, they lost their ability to regulate water transport, like normal plants. In exchange, they gained complexity in their flowers. Because they don't need light, they can grow in the deepest shade where competition is low. Because they don't need to build leaves, they can live as tiny tubers for years, waiting for the perfect moment to flower. They are masters of efficiency, existing as pure potential energy underground until the rains come. Now, let's look at the ecosystem of Taman Eco Rimba. This is a dipterocarp lowland forest, one of the oldest and most complex ecosystems on Earth. Above, giants like Sharia and Dipterocarpus dominate the skyline. They are the sugar daddies of the ecosystem. But down in the leaf litter, where Thismia lives, it is a world of decomposition. Bacteria, fungi, termites, and beetles are constantly breaking down the rain of dead leaves. This creates a nutrient-rich, humid layer of soil called humus. Thismia selangorensis seems to prefer the riparian zone, the area immediately adjacent to the river. The soil here is constantly moist, which is crucial for a plant that has little control over its own water retention. The flooding of the river also deposits fresh silt and nutrients, keeping the fungal networks vigorous. However, this reliance on the riverbank is also its greatest vulnerability. When a species is discovered with fewer than 20 individuals in a single location, the celebration is instantly mixed with anxiety. Thismia selangorensis fits the criteria for critically endangered almost perfectly. The threats are severe. First, there is hyperendemism. As far as we know, this plant exists nowhere else on Earth. A single landslide, a severe flood, or a disease outbreak could wipe out the entire species in a week. Second, there is the threat of trampling. The plant grows right next to picnic areas and hiking trails. It is small, brown, and blends into the leaves. A tourist looking for a spot to set up a camping chair could unknowingly crush the last flowering individual of the species. Third, habitat alteration. If the park decides to widen a path or clear brush to make the area look tidier, the Thismia would be destroyed. Finally, there is poaching. The rarity of fairy lanterns makes them targets for specialized collectors, even though they are almost impossible to cultivate. You cannot simply dig them up and move them to a botanical garden, because they will die without their specific fungal web and the trees that feed it. The only way to save Thismia selangorensis is to protect the habitat itself. This means leaving the leaf litter undisturbed. It means educating the park staff and the public. It means treating the messy, rotting floor of the forest as a sacred space, just as vital as the towering trees above. One might ask, why does it matter if a tiny, leafless parasite goes extinct? It doesn't provide timber. It doesn't cure cancer, as far as we know. But Thismia selangorensis matters because it is a bioindicator. Its presence tells us that the forest soil is healthy. It tells us that the mycorrhizal networks are intact. It tells us that the connection between the trees and the fungi is functioning. It is the tip of the iceberg, the visible sign of the immense, hidden complexity of the rainforest. Furthermore, its specialized lifestyle pushes the boundaries of biological science. Studying how Thismia steals carbon without triggering the fungus immune system could teach us about plant defense and parasitism. And on a more philosophical level, Thismia selangorensis represents the wonder of the unknown. In a world where we think we have mapped every corner and named every beast, the fact that a strange alien-looking flower can hide in plain sight at a popular picnic spot is a reminder of how much we still have to learn. The Selangor Fairy Lantern is a paradox. It is a parasite, yet it is beautiful. It is locally abundant in its tiny patch, yet globally on the brink of extinction. It is a thief, yet it is a masterpiece of evolution. As the monsoon rains fall on the canopy of Taman Eko Rimba Sungai Chongkak, the water trickles down the trunks of the great trees, soaks into the humus, and wakes up the sleeping tubers of Thismia selangorensis. Slowly, silently, the white stems push up through the rotting leaves. The intricate miters unfold. The antennas rise. For a few days, the forest floor is lit by these ghostly lanterns. They signal the presence of a hidden world, a complex web of life that connects the tallest tree to the smallest fungus. And then, as quickly as they appeared, they dissolve back into the earth, waiting for the next rain. It is our job now to ensure that the boots of the giants, us, tread lightly enough to let them rise again. Thank you for listening to this exploration of the hidden world.